Welcome back to the Savage Nation. We now talk with the anchor baby of the conservative movement, Ann Coulter. Ann, welcome to the program. Glad to have you with us. What's on your mind today?
Thank you. Good to be here.
Now, Ann, I loved your article, How We Became the World's Suckers on Immigration. It's so brilliant. You're such a great writer. And I want to get to that in a minute. But I want to ask you something. Do you share recipes or makeup secrets with Kellyanne Conway?
No.
Okay. I'm only joking because I know that you're on the outs with the administration seems to have cast you aside since you became critical of the none policy on immigration, right? I mean, I'm kind of an outcast as well because I've been rather critical of the fact that we've gotten nothing on immigration.
Oh, I think they're following us, Michael Savage.
You think they're following us?
Yes.
You mean they know that we're right?
Yes, and I mean that's as I've been telling conservatives who don't like to hear that Trump isn't keeping his promises, and I understand that. He does seem like he's the last hope, and we certainly don't want to give power to these lunatics running for president as Democrats. Yeah, all that is true, but my feeling is we've got 16 months now to get Trump to fulfill his promises. He's afraid, as he should be, I mean, not unduly. He's afraid he won't be reelected. And
do you actually, wait, Ann, this is such an important point. The inner circle, I'm not part of it. I never have been, but I knew a few of the people. They don't talk to me anymore because I became a little critical of the fact that we were getting nothing, mainly on immigration. I'm also not happy with the taxation. I'm not happy with a number of other things. But your article is really amazing, How We Became the World's Suckers in Immigration. Do you think they're actually reading these articles and they understand that the base is a little turned off?
Yes, and like I say, I think there is some reason for concern. Trump won by 80,000 votes. It spread across 4 states. He only won by 10,000 votes in Michigan. And I would be particularly concerned about the midterm elections in Florida and Texas. Yeah, in the end, we won, but oh my gosh, were those elections close. And now that we've gotten a better look at Beto O'Rourke, this guy almost beat Ted Cruz.
I know.
It looks like the Democrats, the demographic transformation of the country, they could win. I mean, the incumbent has an advantage. Obviously, yeah, okay. In the end, I'll be voting for Trump, but yeah, I also voted for McCain under protest, and for Romney quite enthusiastically. That didn't help. So the next 16 months, I think, is not the time for conservatives. Yeah, okay, bash the Democrats, but I don't think this is the time to be lying about, oh yeah, he's already building the wall. No, he's the greatest. Look at this tweet. I mean, what we get with Trump, there's this expression, no gain without pain. Well, to some extent that's true, but it doesn't make your workout any better if you put thumbtacks on the recumbent bike. I want pain associated with action. I will defend Trump until I'm blue in the face when he gets attacked for building the wall. He hasn't done that, so I've kind of checked out on bothering to defend him on these various outrages. Mm-hmm. With Trump, we get I mean, it's great not to care when Democrats are outraged with them, and I like that about Trump, but I'd like it to be for stuff he's doing, not stuff he's tweeting.
Now that's germane to the whole issue. I try to explain in the last hour that he's from Queens, I'm from Queens, and basically, even though we're a little different in age, not that much different, and even though he was rich and I wasn't rich, we never took insults from anybody without answering it, and I think this is part of the problem. No matter how low the person is, whether it be Omar the Terrible or Occasional Cortex, he will respond to them when he really shouldn't. Don't you agree with it? He doesn't have to bring them up to his level?
I don't know. I kind of like the way he punches back. Again, it's just what the issue is that he's responding over. I mean, I really haven't followed this Baltimore stuff except for a few funny tweets I saw.
Right. It's summertime. People are trying to enjoy themselves in the middle of all this hatred. So, okay, looking at our immigration policies, you write in The Hill, compared to the rest of the world, you think America lost a bet.
Yeah.
We're only two of two developed countries in the world. The other is Canada, with full, quote, birthright citizenship. How did that happen?
Well, first of all, to distinguish, they're always trying to blur the issue to confuse people. Birthright citizenship has been around since 1898 from a Supreme Court ruling, not from the 14th Amendment, from a Supreme Court ruling. But that means a child born to a legal immigrant, someone who is here. We want this person here. They're not citizens yet. They're going through the green card process, but they have a child born here. That child is automatically a citizen. Okay, fine. That was the law for 100 years. This business about auto citizenship for the children of people, mothers, women who are geographically within our borders, against our will, against our laws, when they give birth, that child is a citizen. That is, an ancient principle deeply embedded in our Constitution that goes all the way back to the Reagan administration. Not that the Reagan administration did it, I'm just dating it for you. It was a footnote in a Justice Brennan opinion. It wasn't the issue before the court. It wasn't part of the ruling of the court. It does not have the force of law. It was just this little aside in a 1982 case, opinion written by Justice Brennan, and henceforth other courts looked at that and said, that must be the law. But no Congress and no Supreme Court has ever deliberated, are the children of illegal aliens automatic citizens just by virtue of being dropped on U.S. soil?
So look, people don't know that in addition to being a great writer, you're a lawyer. I think that what you are just saying is deserving of a new Supreme Court case, Ann, and I hope it goes there as a result of your analysis, that it really wasn't codified in law.
Yes, and who else has called for that? Something like 20 years ago now. The very prolific and highly respected federal judge, Richard Posner, he added on a concurrence in a case that had something to do with vaguely related to anchor babies. And he said, enough of this nonsense. No Congress has passed this law. It's time for Congress right now to assert clearly the child born to an illegal alien on U.S. soil is not a U.S. citizen. Judge Richard Posner, not exactly a favorite among conservatives, the most quoted federal judge on the Seventh Circuit. Everyone who knows about this issue knows how ridiculous it is. This is why Trump, an executive order on anchor babies, Trump could sign it tomorrow. There's no law here.
You're saying Trump could sign an executive order ending the anchor baby clause?
Sure, it's just practice. It's not.
It's funny. A couple of books ago, I wrote "End the Anchor Babies Law," and someone called the show and said there is no such law. But you're saying it is based upon this footnote.
Well, it's a footnote, but it didn't have the force of law, so it isn't law. It was what's called dicta. When a court's right or a judge writes an opinion, the things the judge says about the law that are necessary to deciding the case, that has the force of law. That's precedent. But if he goes rambling off on something else,
But Ann, people should know that Justice William Brennan was one of the most liberal ever on the court. Isn't that true?
Yes.
And they need to know that. Now, you also write very, very interestingly that the U.S. is one of the rare countries that makes citizens of people who can't speak the language, along with the masochistic Swedes. And then in your footnote, you write, how did they terrorize the world 800 years ago? I love that line. The UK, Canada, Germany, Australia, Norway, and the Netherlands all have the crazy idea that citizens should be able to communicate with one another. We have a language requirement on the books, but it turns out that, too, is merely a suggestion. Then you talk about the lottery, in which the prize is U.S. citizenship. And you talk about we bring in 50,000 lottery winners each year for no reason, thanks to President Bush. And as a result of this lottery system, we wound up with vermin like Egyptian national, I'm using the word vermin, you wouldn't use it, Hesham Mohammed Ali Haddad, who opened fire at the El Al Airlines ticket counter in 1992. It got a Saifulo Saipov, the Uzbeki who plowed a rented truck into a crowd of bicyclists in 2017 in New York City. It gave us Ahad Ullah, the Bangladeshi national who got in as the nephew of a lottery winner, and he enriched us by detonating a bomb in New York City's Port Authority in 2017. And it goes on and on and on. You're 1,000% right, Ann.
It's just, I think most Americans would be amazed at this, but we're America. We're the greatest country in the world. We should be taking immigrants the way Scarlett Johansson picks whom she will date. It's not a lottery. doesn't just say, "Oh well, it's not fair to this, poor balding loser with no money." Oh well, his lottery number came up. No.
That's hilarious. Now that's a woman's perspective. I like that one.
The best of the best. No, we act like we are Uganda. Oh, please come here, anyone. We'll throw a lottery. We'll pay for your food and your housing.
And, I told the story for years that Canada used to have an equivalent. You come here in the 9th month of pregnancy to Canada and deliver a baby, and they're a citizen. Then the whole family comes in. And it was turned around by a Chinese Canadian who said that if we do not stop this, this country will become China, not Canada. And it was someone from of Chinese descent who was a Canadian citizen who reversed that and stopped it because he saw them flying in on commercial jetliners in their 9th month of pregnancy to deliver the baby either in the aisle of the airplane or when they arrived in Canada in order to get the whole family in, and they put a stop to it. That socialist Canada came to their senses. What is it going to take for this country to wake up, Ann?
Well, I think the country has woken up. Every time Americans are allowed to vote on the issue of immigration, whether it's what was it, Proposition 187 in California, should we be giving welfare benefits?
I ran the campaign to stop that. We won at the ballot box. It was stolen by one judge, Thelton Henderson, an ACLU lawyer. It was shocking what they did to the voters.
Yes, and in state after state, there are referenda on making English the official language on similar issues. And most recently, of course, we put Donald Trump in the White House, who didn't exactly, present the case for less immigration on the wall in a gentle, calm way. And still, with the entire media attacking him, he became president. I think Americans are perfectly woke on the issue. The problem is the politicians.
All right, Ann Coulter wrote How We Became the World's Suckers in Immigration. It's in the publication The Hill. I linked it on michaelsavage.com. When we come back, I want to ask Ann something. This just came out. Trump predicts a sleeper candidate will limp out of the Dem field to face him. And tonight, of course, are the debates. I want to ask Ann Coulter who she thinks will win amongst this pack of losers the minute I return on the Savage Nation.
Savage.
As we go into the 9th inning of today's Savage Nation radio show, we have with us the great Ann Coulter. And her article, How We Became the World's Suckers in Immigration, is not to be missed. It's on michaelsavage.com. But an article just came out. Trump predicts a sleeper candidate will limp out of the Dem field to face him. Ann, who do you think might win amongst this group of nutcases?
It's so horrifying. Well, my bet going back a couple of years, even before she won her Senate race, was Kamala. So I sort of want it to be Kamala just so I'm unbelievably prescient. But I don't...
Ann, she's not that smart. Look, I live in the Bay Area. I've watched her for years. She's basically a nonentity. She's a product of the machine. She's a creation of the machine. This is a woman who I think if you gave her a compass and told her to find north on it, she couldn't find it. So I don't know how this woman could even compete with Trump. Don't you think he'll mop the floor up with her? Of course, the fear is that the minute he does it, they'll call him racist, right?
Yes, though they're going to call him that for any reason.
That's right.
I'm thinking about this day. They're so excited on MSNBC that, this constant calling of Trump, calling him racist, that now they have... black support for Trump has gone from 6% to 5%.
Yeah, but those are all the racist blacks, Ann. Come on, you're not seeing through it.
No. But look at how
I'm saying, but these are blacks who are either Uncle Toms or racist, according to the left. The minute any minority wakes up, they're no longer a minority.
Well, I would say particularly, my point is, though, African Americans give 90% of their votes to the Democrats in every election. So I don't know why Republicans, I would like to get African Americans to vote for Republicans, but it's not like something that's going to scare a Republican.
Yeah, but Trump said today that Biden will limp out of the crowded field to square against him in 2020. How do you think that will go if it's Sleepy Joe versus Nasty Donald?
Well, I don't know. I think he's the Democrats' best best chance, even though he's becoming, woke Biden. If he ran as the Biden he's been throughout the Senate, not my cup of tea, but he's not, or has not been, manifestly insane. But I don't know, they're just so angry. I think they may go for an angry candidate like Kamala. And also for my purposes in scaring Trump, in scaring him straight, getting him to keep his promises, I would prefer to have it be someone who's more plausible like Biden. But, the nightmare scenario, Michael, is they go far left, they nominate one of these lunatics like Kamala, and then they end up winning.
But Kamala Harris is vulnerable. Her own father, who is of Jamaican ancestry, said, Kamala, I think it was 6 months ago, we could find the article, Kamala, please. He said, we come from a family of slaveholders in Jamaica. He said that. Her own father. And
yes. Well, it would be ironic if the only two presidents descended from slave holders, or rather slave traders, were the two black presidents, Kamala and Obama.
Wait, Obama came from a family that held slaves? Where?
Well, his father, is from Kenya, and that was the port of most of an enormous amount, I don't know if it was most, an enormous amount of the slave trade.
Okay, well, I don't know. Yeah, but do we know, therefore, that his family was involved in that, or we don't know?
That he is related to someone who was trading slaves, I think anyone would tell you yes.
All right, but putting that aside, you think, if you were to bet, that it's going to be Biden, but it could be Kamala Harris. Ann Coulter's great article must be read, as usual. She's hanging in there. She's still fighting. How we became the world's suckers on immigration. Ann Coulter, thanks a million for taking time out from a normal, wonderful, enjoyable life to be with us on the Savage Nation.